maybe if this is your spine and you should be normally 45 degrees. This is a normal movement of the lumbar spine. Usually, the people I see, it's like this already. And then it starts when you see people walking over the street, or not even older people, like just people who lean a bit forward, put their hands on the back, and like a little bit like Quasimodo walking forward. They walk like this because they try to avoid the stretch in that direction, because that makes the pain. So they're going that way. But the stiffer it gets here, the more they have to go down to avoid the pain here. Yeah? And this is the never search the pain where the pain is, or the cause of the pain where the pain is, because there your self-perception is working on that spot. You feel it, you feel the pain, great, there is, but where the problem is normally, you don't feel anything.
So what was really interesting about, as far as Jason and me, we sort of are connected through the matzah, who was our savior and
the God, the guru
that saved our lives. So I don't want to tell my story yet, but I would like for you guys, maybe could you talk about how you guys met and the circumstances around that, and then what that meant for not only your professional life, but your personal lives and becoming good buddies and all that stuff.
First of all, I'm a principal dancer with the Stuttgart Ballet. And I'm 41 years old. And what is it, about seven years ago, I think I met Matze. And it's actually really funny because I was on tour in London. And we were getting ready to do a show. And we'd already done about 3 shows. And then I was in my training class. And then I felt this like really sharp pain in my back. And I couldn't move. So we went to the hospital in London, and the doctor, they took x-rays, they did everything, and they told me that my rib had slipped out of place, right? And then I was like, okay, cool, can I do the show? And they were like, no, you can't do the show. And I was like, why not? And they said if I did the show, then I hadn't the possibility of the rib puncturing my lung. So I was like, man, that really sucks. All right. So came back to Stuttgart, and I went to my doctor here. His name is Dr. Malch. I've seen him for about 20 years. And honestly, he said, oh, shit. He was like, I apologize for letting you go so long with this pain and with these problems. You need to have surgery. You have 3 slip discs and 3 compressed vertebrae. And we need to do surgery. But I'm going to let you see my colleague, Matze, for 6 months. And if he can't fix you in 6 months, then you have to do the surgery. And that's when I met Matze.
So then I introduced myself as well. I'm Matze, head of the physio at the moment at the Stuttgart Ballet. So I'm doing this. I'm doing this job now since, what is it now, 18 years nearly. I worked for the first 13 years. I worked with proper patients, with everyone. Yeah, it doesn't matter if old, young. Yeah, there were also a lot of athletes. And so the last, I would say 10 years, I started to work more with professional athletes, like from all different sports. It was from like football, it was like volleyball, also beach volleyball, which was great.
Lots of injuries in those sports.
I worked also with extreme sports like snowboarders and skateboarders, but I never worked with dancers, honestly. Also, I've never seen. I think I never saw a ballet show before I met Jason.
True.
Actually, that's what it is. So, and yeah, this is like Jay told already. This is how we met when my boss came to me and said, his words were more like, "He's fucked up. Do you have any ideas?" And then I was like, yeah, well, send him. We try. But at that time, or around that time, I learned already some new techniques, where we talk later about it. And Jay for me was somehow the perfect what is it like? Versuchskaninchen,
guinea pig.
Yeah,
Guinea pig.
Somehow a bit my guinea pig. But the cool thing was, I think from the first,
he just liked he just liked the fact that I had tattoos also.
That's what I wanted to tell you. I mean,
it's a ballet gangster.
It was quite from the beginning. There was it was a really good atmosphere.
Yeah.
The things we could talk to. I mean, we're nearly the same age. I'm 42, so it's like
41.
You know, so also the things we could like talk about was quite. Yeah, it was. We were in the same situation in our life. Let's say it like this.
Yeah,
the only thing in his life was that my boss also told me that that he maybe has to quit his career.
Yeah.
This is not going to be fixed. And he said also he doesn't want to do a surgery. He said, yeah, we have to give him like some help. But at the end, his personal feeling is that doesn't help. Yeah. So that was the thing, how he sent him to me. And it was like, okay, well, my guinea pig is here. It's Jay. It's fine. So let's do some tryouts. And I tried to explain him from the first hour. I tried to explain him quite well and always like repeating my sentences that he knows what we're going to do with him or what he has to do.
And it's quite a unique approach to physical therapy, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's
different. It's
painless, no pain, just very like light touch, right?
Yeah.
Or the opposite of that.
I'm gonna say, honestly, I think not being able to walk and move was less painful than the beginning process with Matze.
Yeah.
I think I went through so much pain. I mean, Matze, you know, man, I was like, stop. like really, at one point, I think I asked him, are these rooms soundproof? Because every second word out of my mouth was fuck. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this.
Absolutely.
But it was the worst experience of my life. Always the first hour, but then every time I left, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I felt normal again. But the first hour, the first months, I think like 6 weeks were just absolutely excruciating.
Well, Matze, tell us a bit about what you do that's different than what people sort of expect from traditional physiotherapy. Yeah. Because I have been to physical therapists in the States all the time. I mean, trying to get myself put back together, and none of it was ever very successful. And so I never really had any success with mitigating the tremendous amount of pain that I was in from my back and my feet and my knees and my hips and everything, which was all connected. And so what is different about your approach and how does that apply in your like physical therapy sessions?
Lacey, one of the main things is that the theory, what stands behind all that, what I'm going to do is like a lot different to what you learn usually in your during studying. Yeah? Like there is one main thing what physiotherapists learn is that it shouldn't be too painful or to never put the patient in the pain he has. So we always learn to try to avoid the pain the patient has during the treatment. So this is one main thing they teach us because of course it is like that. It's the knowledge what we have about pain or the definition of pain. It was done in 1979 and it didn't change. So we still, from the pain theory, we're on a level like I said 40 years ago. Yeah. So and we have so many definitions about all different kind of pains. Like we have like 130 different head pains. Yeah. So it's for me it was always I guess I worked with all the theories. I did a lot of studying as a really where I was interested in. I went to people and tried to learn new things, and I did a lot. Like for 10 years I was everywhere, and I was still like I was not. No, it didn't satisfy me somehow. It was like, okay, I worked with them, I helped them, but I knew I will see them half a year again, but a half a year later, they will be back with the same problem and often worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is like where I was like, okay, good. This is for me as a physio who is also self-employed. Is okay. That's money for me. Basically, I earn the money through that I know that people come regularly basis. But if you see that people get worse and worse, as it's not like that they get better, and they get worse. It was for me like, there has to be something. There has to be something out there, which maybe works in a different way. And at that time, I was also studying healthcare management because I really was close to leave all that shit. And I was like, no, I'm not happy with my job. I mean, I could work with it. It was okay. I could treat people, but it was not like what I expected or what I wanted to do. So it was for me, okay, then leave all the physio thing and do something else. And then around that time, it was more or less, it was luck that I heard about this one. It's like a course or studying where it was near Stuttgart. It was not far away from here, and it's like it's called biokinematics, and it's like it was invented by a doctor from Freiburg. His name is Dr. Paki. He learned this all out as a autodidactic. Also, he
Autodidact,
was a teacher or something. He was just like he was also like not really fine how he had to he was. The thing is, he wasn't even an orthopedic surgeon or an orthopedic conservative doctor. He was just for a normal house doctor, I would say. Eh? But he sent always the people with the back problems to the orthopedics, and then they always came back way worse, more pain after a while. So he was like, so he started with that, and he did a lot of tryouts, and he invented a complete new theory, which, I mean, based down, it's all about the physics of the body, how the body is connected. And I learned it, and I had at that time, that was my first experience with that. I had a shoulder pain from a little wakeboard accident I had, and I had it for a year. And like I said, I knew in Stuttgart everyone. I knew all the surgeons, I knew all the chiropractors, I knew all the physios, I knew all the osteopaths, whatever. I went everywhere. Of course, it went a bit better, this like, it feels better now, but yeah, like 2 or 3 days later, it was the same again. So, and then I was in that course, and this little lady, it was at the end of that. And then I asked her, because she always was talking about the limit of the pain. We have to go to the limit. And I was like, God, she's 160 tall, so come on, what kind of pain should, there is no problem. I said, hey, I want to see that. I have this shoulder problem. Can you show me? There is a video of that. As a friend of mine did the video of this treatment. And I don't cry often, I have to say. But,
just when you see me on stage, I know.
Yeah, that's also. Yeah,
I know.
So emotional. No, and she treated me like it was maybe 3 minutes, 3.5, and she really put me to the limit of pain I thought I could handle. But then she went on. It was not done yet, and I was really like, what the fuck, okay. But I said, no, I want to go through. I want to really see if this works. So after she finished, I was really like, okay, my arm felt like numb. I thought, okay, anyway, the career's over. That was it. So I went out.
Dude, I understand.
Like, I was also tired. I was mentally tired. Yeah? I went out and I was like, what the fuck? And then I tried slowly. The feeling came back to my arm. And I started to raise my arm, and it was no pain. I had the full range of motion, and till that was 2012 or 13. No shoulder problems anymore with that. In 3.5 minutes, and that was for me like a wow, like an eye opener. And this is why I said the problem was only where I was thinking at the beginning. Okay, the guinea pigs I need for that, they need to really. There needs to be a special kind of resistance against pain. Or like the way how you handle it. That's for sure.
You have to have a high pain tolerance for sure.
That's for sure.
No, I think you just have to accept it. You have to accept it to know that at the end of the day, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about it's not about a high pain threshold or anything like this. You just have to know and trust that it's going to be better afterwards. Yeah. This is the big thing, I think, with what Matthias does is an understanding about not accepting it, but going through it, because after the 3-4 minutes, it's going to be better.
Yeah. That's why it's so important. What I said at the beginning is like that every patient has to learn the theory behind that.
Yeah.
You have to really well explain what you're doing, because they need to feel safe in your hands. Like I said, if someone is doing so much pain to you, there is there should be 1,000% trust level. Yeah, that they say, okay.
Well, I'll break in here and say that you know, with my experience of having nothing but unsuccessful physical therapy operations here, or treatments here in America, and then also every single diagnosis that I had was always surgery. You got to have foot surgery, you got to have knee surgery, you got to have hip surgery, you're gonna have to have that shoulder surgery. And which is, I mean, you talk about enduring a lot of pain. Now that's a lot of pain and a lot of recovery and a lot of time off. But the first time I walked into Matz's studio, I was so busted, man. Like I was rehearsing in Seattle. Performing in Seattle and rehearsing in Atlanta and flying back and forth. And when I was in Atlanta, in Seattle, I was on a severely raked stage, which put my back out. And I had orthotics, which were destroying my feet. I thought they were helping. They were destroying my feet and my back and my everything. And so my back was so bad that I had to delay my arrival in Stuttgart by about a week just to get where I could actually get on a plane for 9 hours. And by the time I walked into Matz's studio or treatment center, I mean, I was probably 43 at that time. And I think Mathias said, I thought you were 55 or 60. Because I would literally
55, okay, 55.
55,
Dude,
55.
I remember it. Yeah.
And so, like, I go through my whole experience, like, I had this problem with my back, and I also have really, screwed up feet. I've got capsulitis and bunions and all this stuff. And I got these orthotics. They're supposed to help. And, Matthias just sort of sitting and listening, and you can see,
Dude,
you look like you're walking into the Viking hut right off the bat,
Yeah, man. Fucking scary bitch.
And Mats is like this, number one, he's like this metalhead, like badass dude anyway. He's about 6
Thanks
foot
for that.
or
Appreciate it.
And he's just hardcore, And so he's listening. And when I tell him my whole history, he goes, it's all about your feet. We're going to fix your feet, and that's going to fix everything else. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, that makes sense to me. Sure. He's like, number one, you got to toss those orthotics away. Just get rid of those things. Never use them again. And he grabs my, like I'm back here and he's facing this way. He's just kind of talking over his shoulder. Yeah, man, we're going to do this. And we're making small talk. And he reaches over out of the counter and out of the cabinet and pulls out this wooden dowel with a pommel on the end of it that he puts right in the palm of his hand. And he's messing with my foot and kind of talking over his shoulder. And then I talk a lot anyway. And so I'm blabbing and he's like, man, let me tell you something. This is going to hurt. And he found this spot on my foot and buried that wooden dowel in my foot. And I thought I was going to kick him right in the face. I've never volunteered to put myself in that much pain in my life. And it was literally excruciating. Yeah.
He never fucking told me that he was going to put me in pain. He just did it.
I'm surprised.
He never said, hey, this might hurt. He was just like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
So, lucky you.
Yeah.
It was also a really new experience for me when I started with Jay. With Mike, I was already way more experienced, like I said. That was the beginning.
But I remember the whole time I'm trying to be tough, too. I'm trying not to scream. It's what we're doing, like, Texas. And I'm just like crying because it's so, I mean, literally he's finding, everybody has those sensitive spots on your feet and you just think they're just, it's just part of having a foot, but he takes that thing and finds them and really just kind of destroys that tissue and breaks it down.
The way he does it is the worst part. He's like kind of like, you think you're getting like a little foot massage.
Oh, this is nice.
Like,
Matson, this is always really nice.
And then he just goes like, wow. He just goes right in there, and you're like, "Oh, this is not nice anymore."
No, this is not like a massage. This is not at all.
No,
but the thing about it was
amazing.
That pain was so terrible. I mean, Both feet. He worked both feet, right? And I had plantar fasciitis, everything, man. My feet were destroyed.
Yeah.
And I had those foot problems for about 7 years, and nothing worked. I've spent thousands of dollars on shoes and inserts and all kinds of stuff to get this stuff fixed. It's going to have to be surgery. When I stood up off of that bed, my feet, which had always been like this because I was always avoiding the pain, went like this for the first time in almost a decade. And that, for me, it was like being, I mean, I definitely understand people that believe in faith healers, because if I got that experience, I would be going to the Church of Matzah today. If he was so inclined to be a weirdo guru, I'd be like, praise Matzah, he is the coolest. That would be your ritual, I think. But just as some context, so people understand what we're talking about. We're talking about all this pain and stuff. It's pain, but it's productive pain, and it totally fixed me from. I mean, within a week, I was running around stage, and I could barely walk before.
Yeah.
I think important is also to say when you came the first time, you came because of your back. So we mainly talk about your back problem, and so the feet, I didn't even know before about your plantar fasciitis and all the bad things you have with your feet, because like the main topic what we had was the back pain, like this. And like I said, when he walked in, like for me it was like this. Okay, if I imagine a guy from Texas, that's him. So like glasses, cowboy boots, hat, perfect, leather jacket. And that was the thing. That was for me after, that was also one of the hardest to tell him he has to get rid of these cowboy boots. That really hurts myself for him. Yeah, like really say, But it's like, it's these little things. Yeah, it's like I said, altogether, it's not about big changes. It's always these small things where we think we're doing right because someone told us we have to do it like this or that. Yeah. And this is the game changer. This is always the game changer, are the small things, the things in our daily life, which we like really can like change or avoid easily. Yeah, where we don't need to do a lot. Yeah? And this was so. Like I said, I didn't know about your feet problems. It was more about the back, but still, that just to jump into the theory again. A lot of back pain, a lot of lower back pain, or even like in the middle of the back, has a direct connection to the soul. Yeah, and it's not like
of your
I
feet,
say, okay,
soul of your feet, not your soul.
Both.
True.
Both.
And that's the thing. This is why often, and like I said, the interesting thing was I had some opera singers before, and with like I would say 80% of them, they all had the lower back pain thing, and 80% it came from the feet, especially with the opera singers. It's now that I saw in my studio. And so that's why it was for me so impressive, because I heard the whole story about the pain he went through a week later. So I because the thing is, like when the opera calls me, there is an emergency call, then I have to find a time where I can put the people in, and I have like maybe 20-30 minutes, and then I have to kick them out again, because normally my ballet dancers are standing in line outside and waiting for next appointment. So that's a bit problematic sometimes. So there was also not that time, because normally when I see a patient first, we do normally a 1 hour talk about the history of pain. Yeah, like that I have an idea where I have to search for this problem, because it could be everywhere. Yeah? It's not like said that, for example, like a neck pain could come from the knee, yeah, for example, like this. But it always, that's why we need to know the pain history, and we need to take this serious. And this is what normally outside is not happening, because no one normally has the time to talk. Even the physiotherapists, they are like, they have this prescription thing, and they hear 15 minutes there, but that's it. Then the next one has to come. And I think this is a goal that I try to also teach my students that I have seen. First of all, if you get a new patient, the pain history is everything, and then you can choose. Of course, there are also a lot of other techniques which maybe works or not. I don't say that only mine works, but for me, yes. For me, this is what really helps. But
you said you said something really a word that I love, which is game changer.
Yeah, game changer.
And so for me as an opera singer, not being in I mean, I was in pain that I didn't know I was in, because I had so much pain that was masking other pain that was masking other pain. And the more, you know, freedom I was able to get from that pain, the more freedom I had as an actor, the more freedom I had as a singer. And I had so much more stamina and energy and everything that I'd never had before. I mean, I'd gone when I was in New York City doing auditions and working, I couldn't even take the subway because I couldn't stand that long. Ugh. And so this changed the game for me. And Jason, I know it changed the game for you because, like you said earlier, they were telling you might have to retire at 41.
No. They were telling me I was going to have to retire at what, 30?
Right.
35?
I think you were 33 when we met. 33 or 34 or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, 33.
So you were you were kind of in the prime. I mean, you're at the top of your game, and this was this was all hands on deck. I mean, this could have been the end.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like when you first came in and you started seeing the results? I mean, for me, I'm an opera singer. I use my body like 10% compared to what you use your body for.
Well, the funny thing is with Matze, kind of like checking out my body, and he's working on my hamstring. And I was like, Matze, what are you doing, man? It's not my hamstring, it's my back. And he was like, nah. And I was like, no, Matze, I was really like, sorry, I'm going to swear now. I was like, fuck you, bro. It's my fucking back, not my hamstring. And Matze kept on fucking stretching out my hamstring. And I was like, what are you doing? And then he asked me the very first session, he was like, did you ever tear your hamstring? And I was like, yeah, I think so, but like in 2000. And he was just like, yes, that's the cause. And from that moment on, we just worked on my hamstring, then it was my thigh, then it was my hip, and it was like a whole chain reaction up until the slip discs and compressed vertebrae.
Basically, all compensations. As we worked backwards, we worked all the problems, like backwards up. So it was like we started with the hamstrings, and then, like I said, the pain could be maybe changed also in the back, or maybe it goes to the hip, or it maybe goes to the knee, or whatever. But this is not a new pain. All the pains you have after we start, you know them. You have when you feel them, you know, I had this there, or I had this at that time, or so. So, and this is the problem with compensations, and also the problem with like, or in the high athlete scene, because there is no one without compensations. Yeah, they all compensated for years. Yeah. So, and this is why when it takes time, to get through this, but I mean, we were lucky because what was at the beginning? We were really like 5 times, or we started.
It was 5 times a week.
5 times a week for the first
2 weeks, and then it was
like
3 times a week, 2 weeks, 2 times a week, and then 1 time. The thing is, to go back to the initial doctor, I'd known him for 20 years, and like any athlete, it's always a quick fix. You know, like you just try to get them back on stage, or back on the pitch, or back on the field as soon as possible. So you just do what you have to do. And now with the back, because it was so severe, he really was just like, okay, we're just going to take our time, and you're going to see Matze for as long as it takes. And after the 6 months, so there was a time limit. And after this time, if you're not better, then you're going to have to do the surgery. I think it was after 3 months, I was back in the studio. And after 4 months, I was back on stage. And knock on wood, never had a problem since. Like,
one of the coolest parts about Matze is that he is the holder of this knowledge and this ability to help people so much. But it comes not from a sense of, I'm going to get rich with this great idea.
No.
It comes from a real sense of wanting to alleviate pain, wanting to help people, because he himself was helped by the process. And that's what inspired him to study it. And now he's passing that on to other people and giving people healing and help. And he's just a cool ass son of a bitch, man.
He really is.
So like, I was so like, and I was, you know, I'm an American in a foreign country, and we stick out like a sore thumb anyway. And it feels, often feel weird about, let's hang out. We started hanging out pretty soon after that. We started working together, and all three of us actually started hanging out because we had this commonality. And I thought it was just one of the best parts of, of meeting Matza and meeting Jason is that we actually sort of formed this like cool little friendship there of these three people from different places all coming together and all sort of sharing the same experience with pain and relief and beers and shots and everything else.
Thanks for that, guys. Although, like what Mikey said, I think is a big point. It's not what I try. The main intention is really, and this is what you can do with the therapy. Every patient gets to be his own therapist. He learns so much about his body. That means the more often you do the exercises, you can analyze your body always in advance. That your completely body perception, your self-perception changed. Yeah, so it's like a complete different story. That when some pain starts, you are now able 80% like to analyze on your own and to do the right exercise or the right treatment to help yourself. And that's the thing. And of course, sometimes if it's too painful or if it's like you have no idea what to do, I jump back in the ring and give some ideas. Or maybe that I think that the biggest problem is always the routine. The more we're doing it and the more we think we're going to our limits, it's not. Yeah. So the limit is like step by step, it goes down. But that's quite normal. Like when we feel good, of course, no one wants to. Let's say like this: you have no pain outside anymore, but as soon as you start the exercises, the pain is back. This is also a psychological thing, yeah, where you have to really learn to go through. And of course, you feel in your normal life, you feel good, so you don't fuck yourself up with the exercises that much as when you are in pain. Because when you're in pain, it's way more driven. There is way more motivation to do it. If not, of course, you're like, yeah, well.
Yeah, and then the pain comes back.
And this is I think this nowadays is so important with all these surgery things. And like I said, and of course, there are causes for surgeries, yeah, with broken bones or splattered bones or whatever. Oh, yeah, the medicine, it's good that we have it. But with all the tissue things, like the fascia problems, where we all connected that our body could stand straight, we need the fascia. Yeah? And there is no possibility to see it on a picture, no MRI, no CT, nothing can show it. Yeah? It's like not possible. So it's for the insurance also hard to say when you say, yeah, but this one has a fascia problem. So we have to work on that. How do you know? Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not evidence-based. Yeah, it's all, they try, they keep going. We have a lot of studying all over the world, like about the fascia thing, and it's getting better and better. But still, the fascia is the first which gets destroyed when you have a surgery, because they have to cut through. They have to go to the deeper line. They have to cut it. And then you have a scar there. And normally for a doctor, the scar is like, yeah, well, it's there. What should I do? I have to go one to the next level. So it's like I have to go to a deeper muscle. So what should I do? I have to go through that. And this misunderstanding is like one of the biggest problems that we have in the whole medical section. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like this destroying of our whole tissue system, our fascia system, which is so important. And this is there are so many, you hear it everywhere now, fascia therapist here, there, whatever, they all do their things. I don't think that you can put it like, because every kind of treatment you do is a fascia therapy. Yeah? Because you cannot work on a body without touching that. It's not possible. You have to go, as soon as you touch the skin, you touch the fascia. It's like that. So it's also not even like a hidden technique or something. It's just like, I think the main thing with that is like experience. The more you work with people, the more things you've seen, the more ideas you have. Yeah? And of course, when I look back now, sometimes I had people where I was maybe a bit too hard. Not you, Jay. You.
No, you weren't hard enough on him. You managed to bring him back in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I had also some really like older ladies, let's say like this, so around 60. Yeah, and I was not kind with them as well. I was like, okay, you want to get rid of that pain. So, and yeah, maybe there I could have been a bit more chilled at the beginning. This I know now. Yeah, this is like that you don't need to. But in the high athlete sports, unfortunately, it's like this. There is never time to recover. Everything has to be done in a second, because on the next day it's the show, and the next day is this rehearsal or whatever. So it's hard to like treat everyone like, let's say like this. We have 60 ballet dancers in Stuttgart, like professional ballet dancers, and it's me and my colleagues, so 2 physios for 60. So you can imagine normally what comes up then. Yeah, so it's like really, you don't have the time to treat everyone properly. It's not going. So that is why also this kind of therapy, that they learn what to do if they have a problem, you know, these, that they can take them out, and if they feel, or if they have the feeling, I don't get really to the problem, it's still there, then they come to me. But now what I see now, after being there now 5 years, also it's really like, it's way less than before that people come, because they always try to do it, the techniques or the exercises on their own. And they are so happy. They always tell me after, when they come and say, hey, I had this problem, I fixed it. Yeah, great. For me, this is like, my thumbs will say, great, hey, perfect. So
now my schedule is more free.
Yeah, you know, so I have also, I mean, the schedule is the one thing, but it's like really just to see these kind of fear in their eyes is a way. Normally, when there is a pain, it's drama, you know, especially in arts, it's like fucking drama. And the drama, also from my side, the drama with pain, it decreased a lot. It's like they think more about it now. They are not at the, oh God, what is this? I'm gonna die, fuck, or at the end of my career. No, it's like, first of all, because they have an idea of their anatomy, they have a different body perception. They know now how important it is to do, because I have to say this maybe also, at the beginning, when new dancers come to Stuttgart, we do an analysis with them. Like, I check the whole body, I have with certain steps, and then I do the pain history. And then everyone gets his individual program. If he is in pain or not, that doesn't matter, because you see already the compensations, so he has to work on that. So everyone gets that. And the guys, like I said, Jay, of course, was for me like was easier to step into the ballet thing, because Jay was there. He had this experience with me. Then I had a lot of other principal dancers who came to my studio before I joined the ballet. And I think that was also like that the younger looked up to the older ones, to the more experienced ones, what they are doing. So it was always like this, what are you doing there? What is that, halt? And Jay is already that good in it, because I fucking implanted in his brain how it works. He could also really explain the theory quite well. So it's also like, it's not like that I try to keep the work away from me, but that's a big help, you know, in a big group. If you have a few people who have experience with that, and then they also know to talk about, because he's also interested in these training things and treatment things. So I said, why not? It's like, it's for you. It's even if you are on tour, or if you're alone with someone somewhere, and some of your colleagues has a problem, you could try to fix it. You could like give the easier thing. I don't say you need to push as hard somewhere. No, it's more about the techniques, about the exercises, about the things they can do on their own. Like standing on a stone, for example.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That was one of the things that I really was thankful for, because fuck, you're in Germany, dog. So like, if I got something going on, I can't get you. We can try to do it on Zoom or whatever, but it's just, there's no way to get to you. And what was great about the first time that we started working together, and you taught me, you didn't just teach me, like, you just didn't work on me and say, go off and come back in a week. You know, you said, you can do this, you can do this, take this stone, put it on the ground, stand on it until you, as long as you can possibly take it until it releases. All these things I was able to take with me. And when I was get into a bind, I didn't have that panic, the drama of pain that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Because you would get into a bind and you'd start getting stiffer and stiffer, and one stiffness creates another stiffness, creates another stiffness. And then next thing you know, I'm walking like I'm 55 again, 60 years old. The same thing happened when I was in Israel, and I had a complete lateral tear of my rotator cuff. And I mean, it was so funny. It's like I always get really injured right before I see mine. So I think it's part of the cult that he's in. He sent the bad mojo after me. But when I showed up in Stuttgart this time, I couldn't raise my arm above this. That was it, because it was torn. And now it's no problem at all, man. With just from what that. And they were telling me in Israel, you got a torn rotator cuff. The only solution is surgery. And the lucky thing was my next job was in Stuttgart. And I walked in and I was like, but Matze, it doesn't. And even after knowing what he had done for me before, I have to admit that when I walked in, when you have a doctor with a CT or a CT scan and all that stuff, and he's telling you, look, right here, it's torn. You're going to have surgery, et cetera, et cetera. And I was looking at like having to take 6-7 months off and all this stuff. And even having gone through the Matze treatment, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's all well and good for a bunion, and that's all well and good for this or that, but does it really work on? Let me tell you, it does. It works fantastic on anything like that.
Because of what Matze has taught me over the years, one day I was just sitting on the couch and I was like massaging my foot. And then I realized when I pressed and I did something on my foot, the knee pain went away. So the next day I went to Matze and I was like, yo, bro, it's my foot. It's not my knee, it's my foot. And he was like, all right, let's check. And then he pressed something and I almost fucking donkey kicked him in the face, bro. Literally after 2 weeks, I was back in the studio and I was dancing again. Literally after 2 weeks, I was back in the studio and I was dancing again with no surgery. And again, knock on wood, I've never really had pain. As soon as I get a little bit of pain, I go back to my foot and I fucking stand on the stone or I massage. I druk the place that he tells me to press, and that's it. And then I got no problems anymore. And again, I'm 41 years old, man. And what he's installed in me and what he's taught me, I know I can keep on going until.
I mean, for me, that's what's great about it is that it's not a headline for a ballet dancer to retire at 35.
Yeah.
It's a career that's really tough on your body. And there are a lot of things that can happen physically that can shorten your career. But there's often, like, you don't see a lot of 60-year-old ballet dancers on the stage, So the idea, not only that you push off the leaving the stage, now at 41, you're dancing as well or better. I mean, this is what I've heard before, that you're dancing as well as better than you did when you were 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the maintenance and the work that you have with Matze.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the funny thing is also when I had this problem with my back, I had always problems with my back and always in the same place. And all the physios just made me do more sit-ups. They were like, oh, yeah, your stomach is weak. Your stomach is weak.
Yeah.
To a ballet dancer, yeah? To a ballet dancer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's always going forward and lifting and this and that. And fuck, man, how many years? 7 years? 8 years we know each other?
Something like that, huh?
I have barely done a sit-up since then. Because he said, your stomach is way too tight.
It's pulling you this way. Everything's pulling you down.
Everything's going like this.
Yeah.
And in like one area, I was like, dude, I'm a fucking dancer, man. I have to do sit-ups. And he's like, no, you don't. You just have to figure out another way to do this.
So honestly, you have to say, if you watch the training and they train 8 hours a day, and everyone who tells after there is a strength problem, that's just like normal thinking. This is logic. That it's not like the problem with the strength. It's like it's always flexibility, which was even harder for the ballet guys at the beginning. That I told them they have a problem with flexibility, and if you tell this to ballet dancers, it's a bit like, what?
Watch me put my leg up my own ass.
So but and this is why it's so important to explain the theory. I like to say why, and this is also the main thing is, and this is why it works also on everyone. It doesn't matter on high athletes on singers, on normal people, on grandmas, it doesn't matter. It's always the same thing because we all have the same problems. We don't move enough anymore.
Yeah.
I think. And ballet, they move a lot, but they always move in a certain kind of pattern. Yeah, it's like this thing. And this pattern you have to break. Yeah, and you have to say, okay, of course, I know you have to do this technique. It has to look like this, but after you have to release this part, which is like always working against. Yeah. So and the like the easier thing to understand what we are doing, if you see it with the I explain it on the lower back pain because everyone has an idea. How did it happen? You're going down in front, try to lift something, and at the moment when you try to go up, it shoots in. It's not shooting in when you go down, it shoots in when you try to go up. So, and that just means that you have the pain in the back. Yeah? There is where it really hurts and where you have a problem, but the muscle or the fascia which stops that movement is in the front. Yeah, the front muscle, the front stomach muscle, the stomach muscle, the thighs, the most important muscle, the iliopsoas or the psoas muscle, yeah, the hip flexor. Yeah, I know.
God damn! I just thought about that time. Oh,
yeah. And here is the interesting thing for singers. I did like a little course 2 weeks ago with the students of the opera. They asked me to do like a little 3 hours exercising thing. And the interesting part on that was that the hip flexor is directly connected over the fascia with all the diaphragma, and the diaphragma is directly connected to the heart, also like this line down. So we just said, okay, when we, as a singer, when you have problems to also open your chest, and it's like it's always heavy to work against it, yeah, with the breathing. Of course, we have the exercise to release the chest muscle and like all these things, or the diaphragma, but very often the psoas is the problem because we're all sitting around in planes, like what you did when you told me the first time how much you travel all the time. And it's, yeah, no one travels standing. Everyone travels, he sits around, yeah, doing nothing. So also for these guys, like I said, we did a little bit of the psoas stretch, like the easy one, just to show how it feels like when you open it. And then they should right after they should try to sing and open, yeah. And they were all like, okay, from I think we did 2 minutes of this exercise, yeah. And then everyone should try. And they said, okay. One said he had neck pain. The neck pain was away. Yeah, we didn't work on the head or on the neck or anything. It's just like these little connections. That's why I said the hip flexor, and it doesn't matter what are you doing. That's the main thing. This has to be free. And if the hip flexor works, then we could go on to the other levels and see, okay, where's maybe also a problem. But that's the main thing with nearly every problem we have. Yeah? This is like a guidance. That's why it's also like in the first session, it doesn't matter what kind of pain you have, you learn this exercise. Yeah? This needs to be in your head. And yeah, the more you do it, the more you have this kind of feeling that it's, oh, there is a change. I cannot maybe grab it at the moment, but something is working, something is going on. And the more you do it, you see it always when people come back after a week, and then they have completely different questions like they had in the when we met first, yeah, because they have an experience with that now. They have maybe some other pains now, or some pain got relief, another one comes, like I said, with the compensation. But this shows me then, okay, they are doing it. They were thinking about it, and that's the thing. If you do this exercise once, and I never had anyone who did it and said after, but it's the same. No one had it, and it doesn't matter what he had. Yeah? Like I said, it's not about the pain or the injury what he had, and it's always the thing. And so then we come back to the sit-up thing. The mainly thing we train with sit-ups is stomach, and most people are doing it wrong, so they train the hip flexor.
Yeah.
That means they're getting stiffer and stiffer. So all the mobility of the lumbar spine is getting less and less, but which first works that they have less pain because you don't move that much anymore. It's all that tight. So it's for a while, let's say half a year or what, it feels great with the stomach training because you're fixed. Yeah. It's like this powerhouse thing from the Pilates. Yeah. But the more and more, but then comes the pain back. So, and already you have maybe, if this is your spine and you should be normally 45 degrees. This is a normal movement of the lumbar spine. The people I see usually, it's like this already. And then it starts when you see people walking over the street, or not even older people, like just people who lean a bit forward, put their hands on the back, and like a little bit like Quasimodo walking forwards. They walk like this because they try to avoid the stretch in that direction, because that makes the pain. So they're going that way. But the stiffer it gets here, the more they have to go down to avoid the pain here. Yeah? And this is the easiest, the easiest thing to explain this, what it's all about. So never search the pain where the pain is, or the cause of the pain where the pain is, because there your self-perception is working on that spot. You feel it, you feel the pain, great, there is, but where the problem is normally, you don't feel anything. And this is like the thing, the more people they do the exercises, then comes to this changing of the self-perception, and they have an idea what they maybe all the years before they missed or that they never felt. And then it comes then comes one to another. Then you could say, okay, I have the same here with the neck, I have the same on the knee. Yeah, it could be everywhere. But altogether, this is always the start to change the self-perception of the body. And this makes
one of the things for me, like you can see, like even throughout this interview, like my normal carriage is like this, you know? And in order to get myself to a good singing position like this, I always felt like I was having to hold myself here.
You have to work against your thing. You have to get you up. Yeah. And this needs, like I said, a lot of energy is put in that just that you could stand straight.
Yeah.
But energy you miss. Huh?
After the stuff that like the time he worked on my psoas, which when he works on your psoas, he takes his fingers and he finds that son of a bitch. And you feel like someone's sticking a hot poker right in your groin. It was incredible, you know? And he did that. And then you went under my rib cage and did all of this stuff here and then through here. And then once all the stuff freed up and we're doing my shoulder exercises and everything else, breathing was easier. Mm-hmm. Singing was easier. So it wasn't just about, the thing is, it's always going to be about acute pain when you walk into Matza. Yeah. But the benefit that you're going to get later is freedom. Not freedom from pain, just freedom. More mobility. Easy. It takes so much less effort to do things that you do every day that normally exhaust you. Like singing, for instance. I was able to feel like I had an extra tank in my back when I was breathing. You know, I didn't have to suck in. I was just boom, everything was loose. And it's just, it's when I think about like the gift for me would be able to live by Matza or someone like Matza that I could go into and get my routine maintenance on my vehicle. Because my vehicle gets broken down, it needs to get an oil change, need to get new tires, do all that stuff. And it's hard to do that for yourself, but I tell you, since I've done that, that's one of the things I'm trying to get better at, because I can't just sit around and let everything just get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then expect that I'm going to be able to go, sing like it's just not going to work.
Well, the funny thing is actually when you think about everything that we do nowadays, everything is like this.
Yeah,
everything's forward. It's typing on a computer, it's sitting on your phone, it's watching TV. And we all complain about back pain, but no one thinks about the chest. No one thinks about sitting on their phone, or even now we're all leaning forward doing this interview.
Except Matza, he's like, fools.
Yeah, he's chilling like a boss. That's the funny thing. We don't think about this, but then we always go, oh, my fucking back. Yeah. And we never think about, like you just said, like releasing the front, releasing the ribs, releasing the stomach, releasing the psoas. This is mind-blowing, because once you do that, or once you put down your phone, and once you just go outside and just walk without like texting on your phone or something, the world is a different place, because you don't have the pain. You don't, all of a sudden, like you just said, like your chest opens up. You've got more breath. You've got more air in your lungs. You've got everything. And it's so fucking stupid. Society now it's just like all like this.
We're all over this way.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I want to tell my audience is I got bad news for them, is that Matze, you're one of the very few practitioners of this particular kind of fascia work, right? This is not something that you can go to Cleveland and get done.
It's not very common, no. Not yet. But like I said, it's always changing slowly. And as I read already articles also from, it was from Great Britain, it was from Australia. The way of thinking, it goes there. It goes step by step. It goes slowly, but yeah, it definitely comes. Also, this is.
So if you want to get this, if you want to get the healing hands of Matze, you got to know somebody and you got to go Stuttgart.
Basically, at the moment, that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you guys that you know, getting to know both of you guys and becoming friends with you and be able to hang out in Germany was, I mean, it was the gift of pain relief, but it was also the gift of fellowship and friendship. And I have to tell you that you guys, you know, I've got severe social anxiety. I know I seem like, hey, I'm the coolest guy, but I get really nervous, especially when I'm in a foreign country and I don't know a lot of people. And I'm constantly worried about being an ugly American. I just want to say right now that when you guys kind of put your arms around me and brought me into your group of friends and were able to, like, you know, share fellowship with me and make me feel a little less homesick and a little less alone. I'm really thankful for that. And I just wanted to express that to y'all because it was fantastic for me. It helped me so much. You helped my body, but you also helped my soul and my mind.
Okay. No, you're welcome. It was like that from the beginning. And I think this is also some kind of things that it's not like that you're getting like the best friend with every patient. But in your two cases, it was like just, okay, we were already on the same level before. Then I harmed you a bit. I hurt you. Yeah, you had to live with that. You had first to suck it in. And yeah, it's like this. You felt better after. And then came the idea, okay, maybe he's not wrong. Maybe he has an idea what he's doing there. So that's what I mean with this 100% of trust. And I think this is also what leads one to another. Yeah, when you say, okay, there is already like a good atmosphere between. The main thing is there has to be a good atmosphere between patient and therapist. If this is not there, forget it. And it doesn't matter what you do, it will not help. So it's no chance with that. So, and with this outcome, like I say, with Jay, it was the same. And as a since now, buddies, yeah. And you, Mikey, you joined, and it was from the beginning, it was okay. So what I expected from the art scene, like I told Jay before I started in the ballet, I was like, I got to work with all these fucking divas. Well, I don't know if I'm not the most empathic one, you know. If they go my fucking nerves, I will tell them. But till now, I have to say, of course, there are people who love the drama, who react in a way, but when it comes to me, to the therapy, it's all good. I never had once the thing that someone like get angry or was like, or thought he knows it better, you know, these special kind of things, yeah, which sometimes happens. Or when I also say, okay, sometimes, okay, we have the rule principles first, yeah, because they have the main roles if something happens. But it's so often like this that one of the core has a problem and the principal says, I'm fine. Hey, she could have my appointment. I don't need it. It's okay. Yeah, you know, just to talk. Yeah, it's like this. Of course, I asked before, is this okay for you? But normally no problem. Yeah, and this is also what I have to say, what I didn't expect from the art scene, as I thought they're all way more selfish and way more, oh, it's me and I'm that arty. My experience till now is like, it's not. But only in my special thing when I work with them. I don't know how is it with other people, because I hear it from other people, from Mask or whatever, that sometimes they have these problems. I never had it. Also, I could say for me, it's like, yeah. And then at the end, when you sit with the guys and you drink some beers, anyway, it doesn't matter what you do. There has to be like the connection has to be there. So, yeah. And I think so. From this, Mikey, you're always welcome back in Stuttgart.
Come back, bro.
I can't wait to sit with you guys and have a beer and a cigarette, man. I mean, that was just,
yeah, man.
Or 12 cigarettes and 12 beers and 12 shots, because every beer comes with a shot. It's the craziest thing I've ever counted. Like I was back in college, man.
That's Matze. That's his doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Quick. And this was a fantastic conversation. It was so great to see y'all again.
Dude, it was you.
Matze, you know I love you, bro. Mikey, I love you too, man. I can't wait for you to come back, man. So hurry the fuck up.
I'm working on it. We got to get this Corona's ass kicked first.
Yeah.
All right, guys.